Hi, Boom Social Media Mastery students. Terry Williamson with you here. Facebook Module Week 6, a class titled Measurement and Analytics. Quite frankly, one of my favorite classes because it has to deal with numbers, and I'm a numbers person. If you're not a numbers person, don't worry. I'm going to take and make this class and this data and this information easy for you to digest and easy for you to use to improve your Facebook fan page over time. So let's jump right in. Today I'm going to talk to you about why there is a need to measure, why you need to stop every now and then, take a look at what you're doing. What is analytics? It's half science, half art. Most people think that analytics is all science. I'm going to talk to you about sources of data. I'm going to talk to you about mining that data. Again, a very scary term, but all that means is of all this data that's out there, where do I go in and get what I need to use? I'm then going to spend a little more time in what I think is the most important part of this class is trying to figure out what that data tells us, trying to draw some conclusions, and then determining which actions I'm going to take based on that data, right? Then it's going to be your turn. So this class is going to do no good if all I do is confuse you with mounds and mounds of data and some detailed process you have to go through. So I want to keep it simple. And I also want you to leave here, or leave this class, being able to look at your data, draw conclusions, and make changes to make your Facebook fan page better. Okay, so the first question is, why measure? One answer is for social proof. And what is social proof? Social proof is that people, the society, in this case the internet community, likes what you're doing. And there's a big distinction here. A lot of people take social media personally, and if they're not doing well at it, they think that the reason they're not doing well is because, well, people don't like me, or people don't value what I'm saying. And that's not true at all. In fact, there's some wonderful people, tremendous people you'd love to have them as friends and hang out that do horribly on social media. And there's some people you'd rather not hang out with, and you can't understand why they kill it on social media. And the answer is it's not about you, okay? Now, true, social media, you should reflect your authentic personality. And, of course, unless if that personality is not awesome, but let's assume that it is. But really, it is just about giving people what they want. So social proof, the way I'm referring to it, is developing and sharing content that people want. So remove, for the rest of this class, just remove yourself and your personality, any insecurities you have, any arrogance you may have, just remove it. We're just talking about the data. Determine the ROI, and this discussion is the holy grail of social media. If somebody can prove overall that social media ROI is positive, then every company in the world is going to go big time in it. So I'm not pretending that we're going to prove that in this class. What I'm more interested in is something called micro ROIs. And what that is what was the time and effort for the return on that specific action. So let's say once a week you want to do a 30-minute video on something super important, super detailed, and you put that on your Facebook page and 2 people watch it. The micro ROI on that is negative. So one of the things we're going to do is see, well, what kind of effort am I making and what are the returns on that? A lot of times you measure because you have to. A client or your own company, if you do this professionally, wants information. To see if what you're doing is working is a big one. So these first 4 are what I call defensive measures. They're just trying to prove that I'm not wasting my time, that, okay, there's a reason. But I think the reason you should measure is to find opportunities. So this is the glass half full side of things. So analytics, a very, very scary word. And let's take a look at what Wikipedia says analytics are. Analytics is the discovery and communication of meaningful patterns in data to quantify performance. Huh? Okay. So it's quantifying. There's a big difference between quantifying and qualifying, or quality and quantity. All this is saying is this is strictly a numbers analysis. And then it's data, a number analysis of data. So I've come up with my own little formula on analytics, and then a different way of looking at it so it's not so scary. First of all, my formula: analytics equals data plus your brain. Because data by itself means nothing. You have to insert your brain in looking at that data to draw conclusions. So a quick word about data. Don't be intimidated by data. Let's take the word data and analytics out and insert information in its place. Okay, so we're just looking at information to try to see what it tells us. Data is meaningless without analytics. Too much data is worse than not enough. I see this all the time. People get so buried in the numbers that they can't see the forest for the trees. What we're trying to do are bullets number 4 and 5. We're trying to use the data to draw some conclusions. And these are things that kind of just, they hit you. And you'll get better and better at this over time. I'm actually going to do this on Kim's platform, and you'll see how it works. And then finally, once I've drawn a conclusion, do you have the nerve to put an action plan around that? Because if you draw a conclusion and you don't develop an action plan, how is anything different? Okay? So an action plan, there's two types of actions. One is, I want to continue doing the things that are performing well. And number 2 is, I either want to stop doing or change the things that aren't doing well. Okay? What doesn't work is to continue to do the things that aren't working well, even though you concluded a long time ago that they weren't working well. Makes sense, right? Okay, sources of Facebook data. I want to talk to you about 3 of them. Third-party sources. I'm going to show you an example in a second. Facebook, both on the timeline and insights, and then you. The last one I'm titling Not All Data is Equal, and you'll understand why when I talk to you about that in a second. Okay, third-party data sources. There are hundreds and hundreds. There is so much free data out there that you probably will never have to pay for data on Facebook. I picked one EdgeRank checker for a couple reasons. One, we told you to just check out what your EdgeRank checker score was. I picked it because the free version is pretty darn good. It's available to everybody. And the pro version, if you wanted to go that way, is only $15 per month per page. But let's see if we need this in a few minutes here. And let's see if we need any third-party data. So I did some screenshots with Kim's page, and these are the screenshots that you get in the free version. So with Kim, she has an EdgeRank checker score of 10. Most of you have done this, have either a 0 or a 1. 10 is pretty darn good, but you can see over here, I was able to grab a month worth of data, and these little widget things here can let you grab different types and sort it in different fashions. So I took the month of June, and I can see that Kim's EdgeRank checker score went from 10 to a high of 22. And I can also tell that it's kind of cyclical. It goes up and down, and went down, and then it went way up. So based on this data, what am I going to do? And that's kind of my point is data needs to tell a story, and the story needs to drive action. So based on this, I don't know what I would do. What would I do differently? I guess I could go back and figure out why this jumped up real quick and why this went down. But that's a very labor-intensive process, and I'm not sure that it's accurate. The next one was post likes over time. All right. So we can see that on average, Kim averages around almost 2,000 post likes. So if I had gone in over here in the beginning, I would be like, okay, well, I'm kind of at a monthly high. That's good. Then if I analyze the daily a little further down, say in here, I would be panicking. And then if I analyze it again here, I'd be feeling slightly better. Oh, then I'd be in a huge panic here. And then I'd be riding this roller coaster. And I think this picture right here is symbolic of the type of roller coaster that you can ride if you follow data moment by moment, up and down. And we've seen some of this in the group already, where people say, oh my goodness, my reach is down 20% last week. And then they're super excited because it's up the next week. There is no chart from anybody in the world that I know of that constantly goes up at a 45-degree angle. You're going to have these peaks and valleys. And what we want to do is analyze data over time to see what it tells us. Because most of you are saying, oh my goodness, I'll take that right now. 2,000 post likes a day? I would take 20 post likes a day. So it's all relative. That's my point. Here's another one. Boy, look at the curves on this one. Post comments over time. I would be thrilled, I would be in a panic. I would be thrilled, I would be in a panic. I would be thrilled, I'd be in a panic. I start looking for patterns. Well, that's like about a week between here and here, a week between here and here. Well, these are kind of peaks, but they're not every week. Then lastly, post impressions over time. We're talking about a number in the hundreds of thousands. So what's my point? There are tons of third-party data sources to pick from, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. We've spent money on, not every one of them, but a lot of them to see that if they were worth it or not. They range from free to expensive. We don't pay right now for any Facebook third-party data sources. So that kind of tells you that we don't think any of them, and we do pay for other types of data sources, which we'll talk about, like Twitter. We pay for some stuff. So we haven't found any of the Facebook third-party data sources that we thought provided any long-term value for us. Most often, they just confused me. It was just too much data. What we find is that Facebook Insights in our own brains are probably good enough for now and for the near future. That being said, I've looked at, not all, but most. I've probably looked at the top 100 third-party Facebook data sources. So if you find one you want to get into and you want to chat about it, let me know. We probably won't do it in the group, but we can message each other, and I can talk to you and tell you what I think, if it's worth the money or that type of stuff. All right, so let's do this. Let's go live. And as we normally do, let's start on Kim's Facebook page. All right, things I ignore. I ignore all this stuff up here. Why? This is just an advertising ploy by Facebook. They're trying to get you to boost posts. So they took this much of the admin panel to try to get you to do that. And all this information is available in Insights. I ignore this here. Why? Because if I buy likes, if I pay money to advertise to get page likes here, I'm paying about $2 more than twice as much as I should compared to what I can do in the Ads Manager. That was one of last week's classes. I even ignored the page. So if I go down and I start looking at the different posts, I know that, wow, this is great. 62 people like it, 12 comments. It kind of just went up. So that's good. But I can get lost down here. You know, here's 200 shares, 375 likes, the different comments. And the reason I don't spend much time down here is because I do get lost, and you can go on all day. But one more time, every single thing that is listed down here in any one of these individual posts is also in Facebook Insights. So what I'd like you, everyone watching the video, to do is spend a little time just getting familiar with Facebook Insights. For what you need right now, for the level that you're at, there's very few to know professional Facebook advertisers, are professional, corporate level type of people in the program who have $100,000 budgets to spend on analytics tools. I think for right now, Facebook Insights is all you need to do measurement and analytics for Facebook. Okay, so let's take a look at the overview. I'm not going to take you through every individual piece because it all comes down to the same point, but you should spend some time clicking. First of all, know what each of the definitions of these things are. These are the people that like your page. These are the pages. These are the friends of the people who like your page. These are the people who've liked, comment, or made a story, or like, comment, or shared something out of yours. This is the total number of people who have seen your page in the last week. Down here, I have 28 days of data that tells me how many posts I posted on that day, how many people are talking about my stuff or Kim stuff at any given time, and then wild fluctuations in the reach. We obviously did a little promotion campaign right in here. That's all good. But all this comes down to one thing: good content, consistent content, the type of content that people want to interact with. If you have horrible content and people don't want to interact with it, all this stuff will, first of all, be horrible. Second of all, it won't matter. So here, taking the whole world of data and boiling it down to just what you need. All you care about is how well is your content doing, because content drives the whole platform. These numbers will be what they are based on content. Okay, so I'm going to say this one more time. Your key is to develop superior content that people want to engage with on a consistent basis over time. If you do that, you will rule the world of Facebook. So, where can I find information about content, specific content? If I go right below the main overview graphic, there is a massive amount of data right here. These are all links to all of the posts that I have posted on the page we have posted on our page in the last 28 days. So let's get familiar with this. First of all, post types. A lot of people don't even realize that this is here. You can include or exclude posts by type. So if you just wanted to look at posts that had photos only in them, use the drop-down menu, and there you go. When you see the post type, there's a little icon or a little picture of the photo. If you just wanted to look at text, ones that were text-only posts, there you go. If you wanted to look at links or videos, again, the same thing, but I wouldn't worry about that. I would look at all post types because we want to know how all of our content is doing. These are sortable by date. So if you click on date, you can go from oldest to newest, or if you click it twice, a second time, it'll reverse order them from newest to oldest, okay? The only one of these columns that you can't sort is post. It doesn't sort alphabetically, which is what you would expect it to do. Everything else you can sort by clicking on the column and reverse sort by clicking on the column again, okay? So these four columns here, reach is simply the number of people who've seen the post. This is what Facebook controls. Very important that you create content that Facebook puts in front of people, right? If Facebook decides not to put it in front of people, how can anybody engage with it? So you can pay, but that gets expensive. Engaged users, all this means somebody clicked on the content. All right, clicked on it. They don't know if they were going to do anything after that, but that's the first level of engagement. Talking about it is they liked, commented, or shared. All right, or they answered a question, responded to an event. They did something besides just clicking on it. So this is people just seeing it. This is people who saw it and go, oh, let's take a little more look at that. That's people who click on it. And then these are people who go, oh, I'm going to like, comment, or share. Virality is simply the talking about number over the reach. So what that really means is I saw it, I liked it enough where I wanted to do something with it. Okay? So there's two very important, the two most important columns here are the reach column, does Facebook like my stuff? And then the virality column, does my community like my stuff? The best circumstance, obviously, is when Facebook likes it and my community likes it. And you would also assume that there'd be some correlation between the two. If Facebook liked it, my community would like it, or vice versa. And there is a general correlation, and I'll show you that next. Okay, something else that most people don't know. Each of these links right here are clickable, and they tell you a story. So you can always go and click, see a little pop-up of the actual story, and then if you wanted, you could actually view the post, and it opens it in a new window. Then you can go to the individual post, and you could go down and look at the people who liked it, the number of the people who shared it, and you could read the comments, okay? You don't need to do any of that. You can if you want, but you just don't need to, because each of the links will tell you everything you need to know. So let's do this. Let's sort our data by largest reach to smallest reach. So I just click on reach, and now if I click on the specific number, it will tell me everything I need to know about that. It will tell me that this post had organic reach of 4,576 people. So if you hover over it, then it will give you the exact number. The reason it was our top performing post, because we paid for people to see it, but we also liked the viral reach that it got. So the people, what this kind of tells me is some people saw it, some people we paid to have them see it, and the good news is whether we had paid to have them see it or they saw it by themselves, a lot of them shared it. And that's the same with any one of these. If I click on engaged users, this will tell me the number of people who were engaged. All that means is that they clicked on the story. They clicked on the post, and a good chunk of them simply clicked on the photo to make it larger. All right, which is okay. That means that the photo itself was probably pretty good, but what I really want is stories generated. These are people who like, comment, or share, answer a question, or sign up for an event. Okay, and then it's the same with each of these. So here, these are the people who are talking about it, and again, talking about it is people who like, comment, or shared. We had a bunch of likes, and we had some comments, and we had some shares. So likes are good. These are all good. Any of these are good because that means that the EdgeRank algorithm is more likely to pick it up and put it in people's feeds in the future. But remember, the big one is shares, because if I get shares, then I get increased virality. All right, so get familiar, practice sorting, not sorting. But here's really where the analysis comes in. And here's what I want you to spend a little time doing. I want you to figure out what types of posts Facebook likes. And it's just as important to figure out what type of posts Facebook doesn't like. Then we want to figure out what types of posts our community likes and the types of posts that our community doesn't like. And then common sense would say, learn something from the ones that perform very well and keep doing that. And the ones that perform poorly, figure out why they did and stop doing that. All right, so you ready to go for a little ride here? This is Kim's platform. I do this every single week. I go through and I take a look at what's working and what's not. So the first thing I'm going to do is find out what Facebook says about our posts. I am going to sort first by the biggest reach to smallest reach, and I'm just going to look at about the first 10. After the first 10, I think my story will be told. Why did this one do so well? Well, it did well It was a graphic. It was, I don't know if it's funny or not. It was a picture of a guy. He was drowning. Then everybody pulled out their cell phones and took a picture of him to put it on social media. Um, we had paid reach. So right now, once I say okay, I had paid reach, that kind of skews things. I'm more interested in things that I didn't have to pay Facebook to put up. Okay, this one here was a webinar that we did, and we paid people to see this post. So right now, that all that tells me is that I can spend some money. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one where we didn't pay money, and that's this one right here. We had 22,808, and since we all know that about only 1 out of every 6 of our posts get seen through the normal EdgeRank algorithm, with 40,000 fans, this one has over 50%. So this one Facebook really, really liked. It was more than 3 times the Facebook average, and we didn't have to pay a penny to do that. So I can really learn something here by taking a look at the post itself and what was good about it. Okay, first of all, some e-cards do very, very well. This was a post about, it was humor, and it was social media humor. I don't have a Facebook or Twitter account, so I just go around announcing out loud what I'm doing at random times. I've got 3 followers so far, but 2 I think are cops. So it's social media humor. And this one did amazingly well because of the 1,783 people that clicked on it, some of them just looked at the story, just looked at the picture, but a whole bunch of them were inspired to like, comment, or share. In fact, an overwhelming ratio of them, 1,447 people out of 1,783 people who clicked on it, liked, commented, or shared. Okay? And you'll see down here somebody who gave negative feedback. This is somebody who either hid it in their news feed or said something negative in the post. So if you get a high percentage of those, and I can tell you that there's not a post. In fact, let's take a look. This one had 17. This one had 6. This one had 3. This one had 6. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to change everything because you get some negative comments or people hide it in their posts. Because it's just a never-ending battle. You can make the changes to try to figure out what people didn't like, and then somebody else will like it for a different reason, so you'll change it, and then you just go around in circles. So unless you see a real big number of people hiding it, and a big percentage, or the comments are just really, really bad, people were just grossly offended, I don't worry too much about the negative comments. Okay, so let's just look at a few more. This one did extremely well. Lots of viral reach. I'm always looking for virality because that means the size of the community is increasing. What was this one so good about this one? It's official. Facebook now has hashtags. How do you feel about this? Like it, love it, or hate it? Why is this great? Why is this post great here? 1, because it's hashtagged. 2, because it's short. And 3, because it asks a question at the end, and it also has a graphic posted to it. So in our content generation classes, remember we said we can tell you that these are some of the things that do well. In fact, if you look, the top 9 posts for us for reach were all pictures. Photo, 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 photo. You have to go down to a text-only post about Mari Smith, who everybody knows, just to crack the top 10. Okay? So now I got a pretty good idea of what's working. People like humor. People specifically like social media humor. People like short posts. Your EE cards seem to be working. And then if I mentioned somebody else who people know in social media, that works pretty well. Okay, so that's good. That's all great stuff. I already knew all that. I do this all the time. What I'm more interested in is what's not working, strictly from a Facebook standpoint. All right, so let's reverse sort our last 28 days of post. and let's see what Facebook hates. And you go, well, why do I care what Facebook hates? Because if nobody sees your stuff, then they can't interact with it. So Facebook thought this was the worst post of the, let me see how many we do. We do right around 250 a month. This one was the worst. Let's see if we can figure out why. The answer is because the post itself is way too much, many words. Then even look, it was an offer. Is your business ready for a growth spurt? Do you need to take a place to learn the social media to get real results? I mean, look at all the words in there. It was an offer, and Facebook said, you know, there's just so many words. You got links, you got hashtagging, you got hundreds of words in here, and it's an offer. You know, we're just not going to put that in front of anybody. So all you people, everybody out there who says, I'm just going to use Facebook as a push tool, just push, 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 push. Facebook answer is, congratulations, we're not going to show it to anybody. Now you can pay us, but that's the only way that people are going to see this, okay? Offer some exclusive. This one here, Facebook didn't like our Facebook tip. They probably also didn't like the fact that we didn't use a lot of keywords. We did put Facebook marketing hashtag in there, but if you look up here, there's not a lot of keywords to drive traffic. Also, there's a lot of discussion now around hashtagging. This has actually reduced the size of your organic community or organic placement. No conclusions yet, but there's people tracking that right now, I can promise you. So hashtags could be a double-edged sword. Great, it's more searchable. Bad news is there's less organic traffic. I'm not going to draw a conclusion. I can just tell you that people are talking about that. This post just went up 2 hours ago, and I know that it's doing well, so I'm not going to worry too much about that one. This one here, kind of a dark post, doesn't really appeal to me visually. 3 hashtags, you know, 1 or 2 hashtags is enough. Also, this whole hashtag thing is really new. So they're trying to do, the scientists of the data world are trying to figure how many hashtags is optimal. 3 might be too much. So that didn't do too well. And you can see how I'm doing this. I'm going through and I'm kind of looking at and trying to figure out why Facebook doesn't like stuff. Are you taking full advantage of Google search? My guess, Facebook doesn't like that because they don't want people using Google search. It's a hypothesis, but they certainly can control things like that. This one here, wow, that is obviously way too long. Facebook didn't like all of this stuff over here, probably, okay? So I'm learning some stuff. Now let's go back and figure out what our community likes. So let's assume that Facebook has put it in front of them. I'm going to sort by virality. This is that our community, and what they've done is they've liked, commented, or shared that post with somebody else. So let's try to figure out which the top performing posts were and why people like them. Okay, this one did very well. What this tells us, I recognize this one already. So grateful for Facebook. Otherwise, I would have to phone 428 people every night to let them know I was ready for bed. These e-cards, some e-cards, these things do well. Why do they do well? Because it's such a simple graphic. People are used to seeing them. They always have something clever like that in them. So can you create things like this? This might be an opportunity. Again, this got great virality. So one of the things that we practice with is making our own graphics and then having our branding down there. That seems like that might be a pretty good thing to do. Closing out the evening with a little humor. Wow, here's another one. Some EE cards. Those are doing pretty well. And again, social media humor seems to be working pretty well. Here is I'm refusing to panic, focusing on the positives and the possibles. This is an inspirational message. Everyone knows, or most people know, that Kim has had some issues with her mother, so the community really got behind supporting her and the situation she's dealing with, and that's what the next couple of posts are. Here's one about Mari Smith, and actually the new hashtags policy. And then more importantly, at least the most important of these 4 different things I check, what Facebook likes and doesn't like, and what our community likes and doesn't like, I think the one that's most important is what our community doesn't like. So the way I can find that is go to the virality column and reverse sort. So I'm going to look at the top 10 posts and figure out what our community says, oh, please stop doing that. All right? So here we have over here, the first thing I'm looking at, people do not like, at least our text-only posts are not doing very well right now. The one that performed the worst of all was an announcement of a webinar. And why did that do poorly? Well, one, because we paid for it the second it got out of the chute. So its normal rate 3183 out of 40,000. That's less than 50% of what EdgeRank would normally do, but we paid for it on day one. So that's not surprising at all. All right. Also, this lets me evaluate my advertising. We had 494 people click on it to take a look at what it was about, but only 120 people actually made a story out of it. Now you go, oh, was that a waste to advertise that? We had 723 people come to this webinar. So for us, it worked very well, which is a point I'll be making at the end of this class today. People hated trivia questions that had nothing to do with social media. They did not want to answer, what do the colors red, white, and blue stand for on the flag? They did not care how many stars and stripes there were on the first flag. Okay, this one here, let me get this out one right. Video for Instagram has been announced by Facebook today. Bite-sized videos seem to be the big thing in marketing today. Who has tried new video feature? People did not want to talk a lot about Instagram, okay? And you can see that only 136 people out of 6,500 even clicked on that post. People did not like the general chit-chat questions. What you up to today? Here's a question. Do you think social media makes us more or less tolerant for other people's positions and hot topics? Things like politics, gun control. Love to hear from you. As a general rule, people don't want to talk about politics, gun control. A lot of people don't want to talk about religion. So anyway, now I have information, and you can do the same thing. So that takes us back to let me pull this up for you. Oh, bear with me here. Sorry. Just jump. Probably quicker just to do this. What do we do with the information? What are the conclusions that we're going to make from this? I need findings. From these findings, I need actions. So here are some findings from my analysis. Stick with shorter posts. The ones that did virally the worst were the super long ones. Stay with more photos. Facebook is not picking up our videos at all. Our links are performing poorly, but posts with photos are 9 out of the top 10. Avoid the general chit chat. People don't want you to want to ask, hey, what's going on today? Hey, who's doing what today? People don't want that. Keywords are important. Let's stick with social media humor. That seems to be working very, very well. And don't be afraid to be personal. People are interested in Kim in this case and what's going on in her world. All right. So those are some findings. But what type of actions are they going to drive? The biggest one that I saw was these EE cards, social media humor with the branding, the company's branding at the bottom. Those work amazingly well. In fact, they were our top 2 not paid posts. We really need to get into that business more. And so you guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been creating more of our own branded posts. We need to make a bigger push to continue doing that. So that's one action. But the second action is one thing we're going to stop doing. No more trivia or just general chit chat about things which are not personal or don't have to do with social media. That's an action. Nobody wants to deal with that. There's lots of people asking, how you feeling today? What's going on today? What you up to today? If we want to be personal, let's be personal about something that's happening in our lives or happening in Kim's life in this case. Okay? So my last slide and then your assignment. Do not let data determine 100% of the actions that you take. Your feelings and intuition matter. Data is a look at the past. You've already posted that. And then you can analyze what happened based on that information. There comes a time where you go, this just makes sense to post this today. It's 4th of July. Let's put up something about 4th of July because I just generally feel that people are going to want to interact with that. Also, who cares how it was scored? It was important. Our lowest ranking post was the advertisement for our webinar. It did horribly. Yet it was super important to us, so important that we paid to do it, and it also helped us get 723 people to come to the webinar. One superstar equals how many others? So and the superstar might be a celebrity. That's the first thing people think of with a superstar. Superstars might be people who will spend money. So if you're in a very specialized business and you're writing posts which are not appealing to the population as a whole, but you sell Da Vinci robotic surgery equipment, and there's a small community of those, having 4 people interact with you and being the right 4 people may be more important than appealing to the masses as a whole. Okay? Also, what's going on in the world? A lot of people get very insulated and they get into, when they get too stuck into the data, they stop paying attention to what's happening out there. You don't have to comment on every political scene but if you miss things like, there's a hurricane that, or the tornadoes that hit Oklahoma City, a month ago or so. So it's okay to be personal. Not everything has to be about the performance of the posts. And when you're going through and doing the analytics and you go, well, the post about the hurricanes in Oklahoma City didn't do well, so I'm never going to comment on any public interest story again. Those aren't good conclusions, all right? So this kind of takes, like I said, a brain, a personality, your involvement in it. All right, so your turn. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to go to Facebook Insights. I would like you to get familiar with how to sort data. And then I want you to sort data by reach and virality from top to bottom and then reverse sort it from bottom to top. Okay? Reach, again, is what Facebook thinks is important or what they're showing people. And virality is what your community thinks is important or what they're interacting with. All right? And we're not going to develop some labyrinthine form with, 75 columns on it, and then you have this statistical model, which things get different points. We're not going to do that. Just generally look for the types of things and try to determine a reason why something did well or something did not do well. And then just make a little list or a note, okay? You don't have to act on everything, but you should start coming up with some commonalities, some conclusions. We'll call them findings, things that based on me looking at this, I go, oh yeah, that was horrible because whatever. And don't take it personally. Again, remember what we talked about, this thing called social proof. It's society saying what's important to them. And this is really about giving people what they want. But at the end of the day, I'd like you to find 2 actions that you're going to take based on this analysis. 2 things you're going to do differently with your platform. All right? Now, I can promise you this, that if you do this process once a week and you spend 15 minutes and every week you take 2 actions based on this analysis, that over time, week after week after week after week, you'll start fine-tuning and you'll start really understanding what's working and what's resonating with your community, and your Facebook page will improve, and your page likes will improve, and your virality will improve. When something goes viral, it won't be well, I didn't know why that happened. You'll know exactly why it happened because you've watched it time after time after time. So I'll conclude this by saying I hope you were pleased by the fact that I did not dive into the microscopic detail on reams and reams of data. I hope you feel like you have something that you can use to take to your Facebook fan page to make it better over time. All right? Thanks so much for your time. Look forward to all your comments and questions in the group. Take care.